Well, Bob Hammel has become a fixture at IU basketball games for decades, spent some 30 years as the sports editor of the Bloomington Herald-Times. He's collaborated with Bob Knight for yet another book, this one entitled The Power of Negative Thinking, an Unconventional Approach to Achieving Positive Results. And the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame inductee returns tonight here on Sunday Sports Sector. Good to see you, my friend. How you been?
Thank you, David. Good to see you.
Good to see you. The first thing when I saw the title of the book, I laughed.
You know, that's the universal reaction. And I don't know that Bob Knight has anything to do with that, but
right?
The idea of Bob Knight and the power of negative thinking is it always generates a laugh.
Exactly. But once you get into it, and like I said before we started this, I had one idea about the book, and then I opened it up, I'm like, oh, this is a pretty deep book here, Bob.
I'm not sure either one of us can qualify as deep, but, but it was. It began as a joke, you know, to be honest about it. Bob essentially said, spouted the title, you know, I've never, in my own books, the title is the last thing I deal with. Here's the first thing. We started with the book.
With the title.
Yeah, we started with the title, and he basically said to fill in the pages, you know.
It's a takeoff, obviously, of the book, the Norman Vincent Peale book, The Power of Positive Thinking. But I think this quote from the book actually kind of sums it up pretty well. Quote, being alert to possible negatives in any situation is the best way to bring about positive results. I mean, this is crazy to say. It's essentially kind of a self-help book, is it not?
Yeah, I think that's
with some basketball undertones.
We had already had the Bob Knight autobiography, so there wasn't
a lot
of life stories to go. Yeah. Now we're going to advise the world on how to
really be under the skin of Bob Knight, or at least try to figure out the man. But is it any more difficult to put together a book like this, an offering like this, than it is an autobiography, or to tell some old stories?
Well, it's more difficult in the sense that there's not an A, B, C, D, E logical order for it. In fact, that kind of perplexed the editors a little bit because they couldn't really detect any kind of continuity. Well, with Bob Knight, there isn't continuity. I'm sorry; these are spasmodic thoughts.
Have they met the man? Yeah, that's right.
And,
you mixed in some stories, among them the idea that Coach Knight wanted IU to be known as a defensive team and a team that was known for shot selection, not the old Hurry and Hoosiers that, you know, when he came in the early 70s, that the team was known for back then.
Well, he did get into how when he came to Bloomington in the 71-72 season, you know, Indiana had lived forever with the fast break, with the style of basketball he wasn't going to bring, and he had some concerns about whether how the reaction would be. In fact, I have to confess that there's kind of an oblique reference in the book to this, and I'm the one who did it. But when I first heard who was coming, the Army coach, my brother Jim was a basketball coach, and he had loved Bob's clinics, and he said he called to tell me what a great move that was by Indiana, what a great young coach they were getting, and I said. Well, yeah, but I don't know how those 51-50 games are going to go over in Indiana. Jim never let me forget that. He was when they'd win a national championship, he calls me, "How the 51-50 games doing?"
That's right.
But that really was the kind of thoughts that were going through Bob's minds too.
That came along with a defensive team.
Yes.
This season's team has gone along pretty well, and we have video of a very special ceremony last night that you were a part of, honoring Calvert Chaney. It's been 20 years, hard to believe.
Isn't that hard to believe?
He broke the Big Ten scoring mark, 2,600 to 13 points. You were there. Tim Garley, head trainer, was there. Obviously, Tom Crean was there. Don Fisher, longtime radio voice, was there. I'm sure many folks up in the stands were thinking, you know, it'd be nice if Bob Knight was there for something like this.
You know,
what are your thoughts on that hot topic, Bob?
Oh, I'd love to see him back too, but I also understand once you're fired someplace,
why go back?
Sometimes carry some some umbrage there. But I'm hoping it'll happen sometime. He did not know about this particular thing with Calvert.
With Calvert last night.
And then he loved Calvert.
Right.
So the fact, when Calvert broke that record, in the Northwestern game, and it was actually the 20th anniversary is tomorrow, Monday. But when he broke that in the first half, they actually stopped the game. The only time in Bob's 29 years they stopped a game to recognize an individual feat, and he obviously had authorized that, and that would indicate what stature Calbert Cheney had in his book.
Let me read you a quote here from Bob in a story that appeared in the New York Times last week. He said, quote, "I don't need a hero's welcome at IU. What do I need a hero's welcome for? Obviously, I don't have any interest in going back, or I would have. It's that simple." As you know, Athletic Director Fred Glass has reached out to him. Coach Crean's reached out to him. Do you see any circumstance at all where he would reconsider and be part of the IU family once more? I know you said you'd like for that to happen at some point.
If my funeral was held in Assembly Hall, he might come.
That's way too dark, Bob. Okay, all right. Aside from that, maybe then.
David, are you asking me to guess what Bob Knight's going to do?
We've got some time to fill in the show. I tell you, you can't do it though. Can I mean, but crazier things have happened.
But you know, the thing with Bob, we used to joke, he and I, about his 180 club, where he would have somebody who was just a sworn enemy, and he would flip that guy around to where he was the biggest believer in the world.
That's right.
So I don't rule out anything. I think it's a possibility that sometime along the line this whole thing could
turn around. Who knows?
Heal or whatever you want to call it, but it's certainly is not in any sense the fault of, as you mentioned, either Fred Glass or Tom Crean. Tom couldn't be more open to Bob's players. Bob's he's extremely appreciative of the Indiana heritage that of course predated Bob with Branch and Everdeen and goes back all those years. But I actually met Tom Crean through Bob Knight.
There's some irony there.
Bob was speaking in Milwaukee at a Packers reunion, and then he was going to fly down to St. Louis and meet me for a couple of ball games, Cardinal games, Wednesday night and a Thursday night. And we're going to spend some time together with a friend on Thursday. Well, Tom went to that luncheon, and this is in 2003 when he'd just taken Marquette to the Final Four, and introduced himself to Bob, and they had a conversation. And Bob's a pretty persuasive guy, and he actually talked Tom into just taking off and coming down with us.
Is that right?
He caught that same plane and came down to St. Louis and spent the next 48 hours with both of us, and we had a great time.
I'd say, I mean, this whole season though, it's been exciting to watch. I mean, and the work Tom has done really to, bring this program back. We all saw it go through.
I keep hearing that Bo Ryan should be the Big Ten Coach of the Year, and I love Bo. I mean, he's a terrific coach. But last year, the Big Ten, they gave it to Tom Izzo because he won. Well, now wait a minute. You back up 2 years. Nobody has taken a program farther than Tom did from 2 years ago to now.
Right.
Is he never going to be Coach of the Year? He should have been National Coach of the Year last year. I voted for him, but I don't understand how he can be overlooked again. I mean, when you back up and see how abysmal the things were, and he turned that around. That's usually the mark of the Coach of the Year. That's
usually, but again, who knows? Once again, the book is entitled "The Power of Negative Thinking." And we've got a special book signing coming up on Wednesday
morning at the NCAA headquarters.
NCAA Hall of Champions. You and Coach Knight will be there from 11 to 2. So
I'm glad you told me the time because I hadn't heard that yet.
Be there by 11, you'll be good to go.
Okay.
Bob Hammel and Bob Knight, great to see you again, my
good
friend.
To see you,
and good luck with the book. It really is an excellent read. I think a lot of basketball fans, not just IU fans, basketball fans will get a kick out of reading this.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back, more Back to Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Pacers and Bulls. Our Brad Brown is there.